بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، هذه الحلقة رقم 7 and it is going to be about the verb be, the use of the verb be in English. As you know, we have discussed parts of speech and we've also taken some vocabulary, and we discussed those vocabulary, of course, in reading passages. And in the first few sessions I kind of used English mostly and I spoke very slow. In today's session and the sessions to come, I will speak a little bit faster. So just because I think that you can understand what I say. And if you do not, of course, you can repeat, because you'll have the ability to repeat what you have the material. So let's begin our session today. All right. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And it's lesson 7. Today's lesson is about the verb be. The verb be with its forms am, is, are in the present tense. And the verb be, okay, this is the definition or some explanation about it. The verb be is an important auxiliary verb. It is important, okay, because it links the subject and the complement. All right, let's continue reading. It is also known as a helping verb. It is used both in the present tense and in the past. Be has 3 forms in the present, and they are am, is, are, and 2 forms in the past, and they are was and were. Okay, so all of this right now, these forms are in the present tense. Okay, next slide. Again, be, the verb be, am, is, are, and of course we use it as a linking verb, okay, in the present. We can make, of course, affirmative sentences and questions and make negative sentences. To make affirmative sentences, we start with a subject, and we can have, of course, singular or plural. With singular subjects, I, all right, we use the verb be, am. This is the form of the verb be that we use with the subject I. If the subject is you, we use are. If the subject is the pronouns he, she, or it, all right, we use the form is. All right, and for singular subjects, we and they take are. That's to make affirmative sentences. To make questions, all right, we put the verb at the beginning, all right, before the subject, of course. Notice here in affirmative sentences, the subject comes first, whereas in questions, the verb comes first. So, am I? Are you? Is he? Is she? Is it? All right. Are we? Are they? These are just the forms, and in the next slide we'll get examples. To make negatives, of course, we use the word not to make negatives. I am not. You are not. He is not. She is not. It is not. We are not. They are not. All right. Let's get some examples. Okay. For affirmative sentences, singular, I am a teacher. You are a student. He is a student. She is a student. It is a pen. These are all singular, right? Sentences in the singular form, right? And for plural, we say we are happy. They are happy. And to make questions, we said that we put the verb be at the beginning of the sentence, and therefore here we have a question. Am I a teacher? Are you a student? Is he a student? Is she a student? Is it a pen? Are we happy? Are they happy? These are all questions. These are all questions using the verb be. Using the verb be. To make negative also. All right? I am not a teacher. I use the word not to make negative. Okay? To make negative sentences, we use the word not. So with this, here with I, with the subject I, we use am plus not. I am not a teacher. You are not a student. He is not a student. She is not a student. It is not a pen. We are not happy, and they are not happy. Okay, let's move a little bit faster. Again. This is, of course, this slide tells us something about the use of the verb. We use the verb be to introduce ourselves or others, in other words, to say who we are. For example, I am Ahmed and this is my son Abdullah. I am a teacher and my son is a student. We are, or we're from Riyadh. Our family is small. Also, we use the verb be to give information about several things, including time, weather, places, things, and people's ages. Examples. It is 6 o'clock. It is cold today. It isn't very hot today. Toronto is in Canada. China is a big country. You are 26 years old. All of these sentences, of course, kind of give information about all these things like time, weather, places, things, and people's ages. And of course, here's more examples, I guess. We'll get more examples. So we use the verb be, again, for introductions and greetings. For introductions and greeting, meaning to introduce ourselves or others. I am Muhammad, and this is my son Abdullah. I am a teacher, and my son is a student. We are from Riyadh. Our family is small. We have just read that sentence in the previous slide. And all right, these are my friends, Ali and Ahmed. They're my best friends. They're from Riyadh. Ali is in the army, and Ahmed is a professor. And we can also use it for like greetings. Look at this, this short dialogue. Ahmed says, "Hello, how are you?" And then Ali says, "I'm fine, thanks. And you?" So we use also the verb be for greetings. We also use the verb be to talk about weather, time, and for apologizing. These are the examples. It's cold today. It's a beautiful day. It's usually hot here. It isn't very warm today. It's 10 o'clock. It's 9 a.m. It's 10:30 p.m. You're late. And I'm sorry, I'm late. So all of these are examples about weather, examples for weather, time, and apologizing. These are for weather. These examples, of course, to tell about the time, about time. And this example is for, of course, apologizing. Okay, next slide. Again, we have, I think we're going to have more examples. We also use the verb be to talk about places and people's ages. Like, for example, Mecca is in Saudi Arabia. Egypt is in Africa. Canada is a country, and Canada and China are countries. Look, this sentence, of course, we have both, two countries, so we use the verb be are. Ahmed and I, also we use are. Ahmed and I are in Riyadh. And then about ages. My son is 16 years old. My daughter is 13. And Mecca is an old city, but Riyadh is a modern city. Okay? We also use the verb be to talk about feelings and descriptions. Examples. I am happy. You're smart. He's tired. She's bored. We're hungry. They're sad. I'm not sick. He isn't tired. She's not bored. It isn't expensive. It's cheap. It's an old film. It isn't very good. These books are good. They're not hard to read. So all of these examples are also, about feelings and descriptions. And notice that we use the verb be, right, in its forms, in of course regular form and in short forms. And we will discuss the contractions in later slides. Okay, contractions with be. What do we mean by contractions? Contractions are short forms. Short forms are used in speech and informal writing. Short forms of the verb be are, for singular, I am. With I am, we say am. With you are, we say you're. And he's, she's, it's, Ahmed's, the pins. These are all examples for the singular, all right, singular subjects, right, where we make the short forms putting together the verb be in its short form with the subjects I, you, he, she, it, and Ahmed, and the pen. For the plural forms, we say you're and we're and there. Okay? And here we get, I think, some examples. Affirmative plus contractions. Okay. Singular and plural. Again, I'm a teacher. You're a student. He's an accountant. She's a banker. It's a check. Ahmed is my boss. The game is over. These are all singular sentences. Plural, we're customers. They're employees. Look at the contractions here. The short forms of the verb. These are, of course, this is the short form of the verb be, am. This is the short form of the verb be, are. We say am. We say am here. We say you're. And this is the short form of the verb be, is. He's an accountant. All right. And negative plus contractions. We also make sentences in the negative form, like I'm not a teacher. We cannot say I am't. This is wrong. But with you, we say you're not a student. Or we can say you aren't a student. Right? He's not a student. Or he isn't a student. In this sentence, and in this, and in here, like she's not a banker. She isn't a banker. And it's not a pen. It isn't a pen. With these sentences, we put the verb be together with the subject. Right? That's the short form of the verb be, and it is put together with the subject in all of these examples. And then the word not by itself. Okay? And in here, we put together the verb and the word not for negation, to negate sentences. So you aren't a student. He isn't a student. She isn't a banker. It isn't a pen. These are singular sentences. Plural. You're not bankers. And again, this is you for two or more. Two people or more. You aren't bankers. You aren't bankers. We're not employees. We aren't employees. They're not customers. They aren't customers. So these are different ways we can do, we can use these kinds of contractions or these. Okay? Next slide. We also make questions with be. To make questions with be, just put the verb before the subject. And we have looked at some examples just before this slide. Look at some statements first. جمل مثبتة. I am smart. You are late. He is from Mecca. She is a student. It is a pen. This car is nice. we are happy, they are sad, students are outside. All of these sentences are statements. How do we make them questions? How do we make them questions? We'll see. Now, of course, let's just read this one here. So in statements, I mean, we have to separate this N here. In statements, the subject comes before the verb be. Okay? And you can see that. You see these are subjects here in black color, all of these. I, you, he, she, it, this car, all of these. Okay? Now, for questions, what happens is that we basically what? We put the verb, okay, the verb be at the beginning. So this in questions, the verb be comes before the subject, and it is here in red color. Am I smart? Are you late? Is he from Mecca? Is she a student? Is it a pen? Is this your car? Are we happy? Are they sad? Are students outside? All of these are questions in singular and in plural form. And all of these questions, we call them yes-no questions. And the reason we call them yes-no questions, one of the reasons is because normally the answer would be either by, of course, saying yes or no. So if I say, am I smart? Well, the answer would be, you will, of course, if I ask you, say, am I smart? It would be like either yes, you are, or no, you aren't. And when I say, are you late? You will be, of course, you will give me an answer saying, well, you would say, yes, I am, or no, I'm not. And if I ask this question, is he from Mecca? The answer will be, yes, he is, or no, he isn't, or no, he's not. He's not. And same thing with all of these, of course. All right, WH questions. WH questions are used to ask for information, And here are some examples, or the WH words: what, when, where, why, who, and how, with the translations. WH questions, regular forms. What's, example, what's your name? When is the party? Where's the library? Why is he late? Who is your teacher? How is, and how is your wife? In these questions, all right, we use the verb be, is, because we're asking about what? Your name, that's singular, all right? And that's also singular, the party, the library, right? All right. And here, WH questions with is contractions, right? We can also contract or make short forms in questions, like, for example, what's your name? When's the party? Where's the library? Why is he late? Who's your teacher? How's your wife? All of these are contractions, all right? Contractions using, or the verb be is. We make the short form. We use the short forms of the verb be here. And we do not do it, of course, with the plural, but then we'll get that to the next slide. So these are singular WH questions. We'll also have plural. WH questions are used, as we said earlier, to discuss or to ask for information. WH questions, regular forms, again, and these are not, of course, in short forms. What are your names? When are the classes? Where are the books? Why are they late? Who are your teachers? How are your parents? These are in regular forms. In short forms, okay, no contractions with are, especially in writing. So we do not actually use short forms with are, okay, WH questions here. All right. These are plural. Now let's practice what we have just learned, and we'll start with the first exercise, and it says complete the following sentences using am, is, or are. Okay? Look at these sentences. Of course, the first sentence is I, and then you have a space, and you need to, of course, use one of the verbs here. All right, would it be am, is, or are? I, a teacher. Now, of course, we said earlier that the verb be, right, is used to link, or to link the subject as a linking verb, to link the subject and the complement. This is the subject I, the subject you, the subject he, she, it, you for plural, we, they, Ahmed, Abdullah and Ali. All of these are subjects. And what comes right after them, of course, is the verb be. It will be either am, is, or are, depending on the number of the subject. If it is I, of course, we use the verb am. So I am a teacher. You are, okay, a student. He is a banker. She is from Saudi Arabia. It is a pen. You for plural, okay, you are employees. We are hungry. They are here. Ahmed is my friend. Abdullah and Ali are my best friends. This is the first exercise that we'll do together, and we'll do more. And with this exercise, I would like to, we come to the end of this session. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.